just want to give a quick shout out to the men who are abstaining or who have been celibate. I have friends that have been abstaining for 13 years. Some friends have been abstaining for 4 months, 9 months, whatever it is. I just want to say I'm proud of you. I see you. Mind you, these are attractive men. Like, these are men. These are not like men that nobody wants. These are like high-powered, high-value, super attractive, intelligent, sexy men. And they're abstaining because they know that their body matters and their mental health matters and their spirit matters. And then I'm hearing about you demonic women who are in their DMs or texting them or coming over their house trying to knock them off of their discipline. Ladies, y'all need to get it together. You need to be encouraging these men, not trying to knock them off their square. I love you. I hope you heal.
Ladies, there are men who will wait for marriage. Not only will they wait for marriage, they are also practicing celibacy. And I don't care if you have had sex before. If you are recently practicing celibacy and you are drawing a boundary out of respect for yourself, out of respect for your body, out of respect for God, there are men who are doing that same exact thing. Not only are they going to respect your boundaries, but they are going to be the ones to make sure that you do not cross those boundaries together as a couple. Don't believe the lies that culture is telling you that no man is going to wait, especially if you have already had. That is complete rubbish. There are men who are actually sincerely, wholeheartedly wanting to do things right the same way that you are. So do not compromise your morals and your values because you think there's not somebody out there that you will actually like that is doing the same thing as you. But think about it. If you're doing it, someone else is also doing it. I hope this brought you guys some hope.
And what I kind of realized is that these niggas is just, they don't want to take you on dates. They don't want to do no gestures. They don't want to spend no money on you. But, hold on. But as soon as it comes to their homeboys want to do something, they so ready. Then they think when they do something slight for you, it's tricking. That is bare minimum. Get out my face with that, for real. And if you know you ain't got no money to be spending, or you don't want to spend no money on nobody, don't be trying to date around and talk to no female if you broke.
And the panhandling in the dating market continues, and you see hundreds, if not thousands, of videos like this where women are complaining about men being broke. This is their way of shaming men or a man because that man did not want to spend money on them, and they're feeling rejected, so they feel the need to shame. Like in this video, she calls men because they don't want to spend money on her. But I have a question. How are you finding out that men don't want to spend money on you specifically? How are you finding out? Because the only dynamic I could imagine where you get a clear understanding is you must be requesting money. You must be requesting money. Can you get my nails done? Can you get this done? Can you give me some of that? You know what I mean? You must be requesting money, and that would be a complete turnoff. You're meeting a man after talking to him for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then you start asking him for money to pay bills, to pay this. Of course the man would be like, no, and not want to spend money on you, because when it becomes an obligation or even a demand almost in this scenario, then it's a complete no. So maybe you are confusing broke with they just don't want to spend money on you. I think that's what you're confusing broke, especially if you're a woman who's encountering guy after guy that doesn't want to spend money, and now you thinking it's all men. No. It's just the men, once they know who you are and engage in conversation with you, they figure out, oh, no, I'm not spending any money on this person. So I don't think the problem is being broke for men. The problem is you.
You know, I think it's time I put my 2 cents in on this male loneliness epidemic that we're having. I think if men were just to stay celibate, okay, and save themselves for marriage, there wouldn't be this problem. celibate, okay, and save themselves for marriage, there wouldn't be this problem. Women don't want men who have been ran through. Women don't want men who have slept around, who have been used, who just keep their swinging thing just hanging out for anyone and everyone. You just need to stay celibate. And the male loneliness epidemic will end, I promise you. Women don't want men who are used and washed up. That's it. Save yourself for marriage.
One of the things that I think, I want to say his name was David Kelly or something like that. He said you got to be masculine, and I do agree. But the thing that we need to add on top of that is, well, you're not standing out as a man. You're not masculine enough, which might be true. That might be the case. But it also might be the case that these modern women don't know what a masculine man is. And they say, as a man, you should be doing this. As a man, you should be doing that. And yada, yada, yada. And they'll sit up here and tell a man what he needs to be doing. But they don't even know what a man is. So you got a man running in this direction. You got a man running in that direction. And you don't even know what a man's supposed to be doing. You just looking at what you've seen on TV. And you telling that man, well, you need to be doing this. And the man's like, that's not really what a man is. Oh, no, you can't argue with me. I saw it on the Princess Diaries. Yeah, but that's Hollywood. That's not real life. I learned how to be a man from my grandfather, from my dad, from hanging out with them, from them taking me to ball games, signing me up for sports. Oh, it ain't all about, no, it's not about sports, but it's about getting me into structure, getting me into a program to where I can understand how to follow a method and a discipline, even when I didn't like it. This stuff you talking about, what they didn't produce in Hollywood or Warner Brothers Studios and Netflix and produce for your entertainment, it's exactly that. I was listening to a show, I walked in on a show where a couple of ladies were like, hey man, they said that this woman and this man met like this, and it wasn't like that at all. It wasn't like that at all. And I was like, yeah, because it was a TV show. It was Hollywood. Hollywood be dramatizing stuff and be dressing stuff up. It's not true. Modern women are really out here thinking that Hollywood is a real thing. It's a real place. How come men don't act like men anymore? I want a man like Ryan Gosling or a man like George Clooney or something like that. A real silver fox. That's great, but that's not an actual man. That's something that they done made up, that they were laying down dreaming about. That's something that they were talking about over coffee. That's not what an actual man acts like. And you don't know that because you've been reading too many books, which is great for you for expanding your mind and creativity and your imagination. But that's all it is, an imagination. Go outside and touch grass.
What do you think of one of the top predictors for why a man would go with no for a year? He's involuntarily celibate. What would cause that?
His age, his appearance.
Red, what do you think?
His stature.
Okay.
Social status.
Yeah, and money-wise.
Okay.
I'd say obviously looks or just mindset. Some people could be turned off by the way someone thinks.
I would say status.
Go ahead.
I feel like maybe just the way that they talk to women, being overweight.
From a demographic standpoint, the CDC doesn't say you have a bad attitude, right? The CDC is not measuring whether or not you talk to women nicely. What the CDC can measure are things like being overweight, how tall you are, or how much money you make. And as men have part-time employment or they've been fired and have no employment, the likelihood increases for them to have no partners. Sorry, guys, hypergamy is real.
There was a woman, I think on the Alex Clark show, and she was kind of talking about men not performing as well on college campuses. And so the men that do, when they perform well, they have their pick of the litter. This is kind of the issue, right? Where, and one of the comments on there was essentially saying, basically, you have men that are being held to a higher standard, right? Higher level of responsibility. And the low performing men are mad about this. And the high performing men really don't care because they're getting all of this that they want. And I would look at a comment like that and say that maybe you don't understand and maybe you're misguided, because what's going to happen is we're going to deem And what is happening right now is we're deeming these men as low performing. But then after we get pumped and dumped and used up by the high performing man, and that man goes on to do whatever he wants to do, he writes a book about all of his exploits and all of the women that he's conquered, and all of the women that he's conquered and left in the way are mad about it because he didn't settle down. I'm tired of the patriarchy and this and this. Now they're going to want to come back around and double back around and spin the block again. And hey, let's check on the low performing man. Let's see how he's doing. And then 5 or 10 years later, that low performing man is actually doing pretty great. And so now, after you've been ran through by the high performing man, now you want to go back to the low performing man. It's funny how that works.
I don't know. I just think it's very, very, very rude.
Someone asks, what do I do? My man doesn't want to have sex as much as I do. Sometimes we go 3 to 4 weeks plus without it. He says like he doesn't feel like it, but FYI, we're trying for a baby. Well, trying for a baby, you really can only conceive when you're ovulating, which is about a week out of the month. But I get it. Still going 3 to 4 weeks without sex, like, and it's on the man's part. I feel like we're used to hearing women not wanting to have it, but like it is pretty hurtful coming from your man.
Yeah.
Not wanting to have. There's so many reasons for that. It could be stress, burnout. By the way, like mismatched libido happens a lot in relationships.
Yeah.
I feel like we just see it on social media, like, we have sex every day or twice a day. Like that's not necessarily realistic.
Yeah.
And especially when I would talk to couples that have never lived with their partner before, because it's different. Obviously, when you're just dating, you live separate. You can't even fathom, what do you mean you guys don't want to have sex every single day? Because, the limited time you do see your partner, you want to jump his bones.
Yeah.
But, as someone who has lived with a partner for multiple years, I get it. You go through these dry spells where you're not in the mood, and it's not even anything to do with your partner. You are just not in the mood.
You talked about how more women than men don't want marriage. What about having sex? Are women less interested in sex or men less interested in sex?
What I sense happening is women, the ones who are 1 in 3 men is not having sex versus 1 in 5 women over the last 12 months. So there are more sexless men, but of the men who are having sex, they're having very many more partners.
Why are there more sexless men than women?
Because they're not doing as well in society. When you look at college campuses, right, because the ratio is so much skewed in favor of men in that there are so few men on campus versus women. Like in terms of university to get successful, they are much more attractive. So they can set the bounds in terms of how soon they want to be having, whether or not they will commit to someone, whether or not they will invest in a partner. And so that's why we see this with women. They're, like I said, they're all fighting for this smaller pool of highly successful men. And those men are not really incentivized to settle down.
There was a clip that was discussing how there's a whole vocation of men that stay celibate, right? Obviously, we know, or we have reports, we've seen reports of some of the men in the vocation of being a priest that are not actually celibate. They're actually doing stuff to young boys and young women, and women in general, men in general, right? But there are some men in there that do lock in. And now you're seeing a trend of men, once again, who lock in. Like I said, not that I don't want it, it's just that the options out here for getting into contact with a woman, modern women, they're out here lying, scamming, deceiving, out here with diseases. You don't know what you can catch messing with these modern women.
If I went on a date with a guy who's single and he's not fucking any other girls, then I would be like, well, why isn't he? Like, what's wrong with him? Obviously, there's been some flags going off for other girls to make them avoid the situation. So, I mean, like, I personally would be like more inclined to want to go on a date, at least a first date.
With a guy who's
the guy who's like normal, who's like hooking up with girls, and I'm hooking up with guys. Like, I mean, I feel like that's dating in 2022. Like,
what you hear with a lot of modern women is a bunch of feeling. I feel like, and it's not based on anything. It's just the way I feel. I could be dead wrong, and I probably am. I could be wrong. You are. Modern women, they get out here, they talk a lot, they do a lot, which is why men are staying celibate financially, physically. And it's not that men don't want to engage in this activity, actually, physically. And it's not that men don't want to engage in this activity. It's that the activity isn't worth it. There's too many strings attached. And when I say strings, I mean trouble. There's too much of a headache attached with modern women today. And I don't think they really necessarily understand that. They think because they have a little something in between their legs, they can pop off at the mouth. It's kind of the same concept if you were to have a job and be a strong, independent woman. You just continue to talk and have a bad attitude, and men are tired of dealing with it.
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz? I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's Mass?
What about the man need? That's just a cultural narrative that basically says men are like animals and they have to be able to do this thing, otherwise they're going to go crazy. And the reality is there's whole vocations that are celibate. And these are virile men, men's men. Some of the most masculine of men I know are priests. We need food. We need air to breathe. We don't need
it's a gift
of coming together, and it's designed to bring life into the world.
I think the sexiest thing about a guy is like their self-control, and my husband has amazing self-control. So after baby number 4, when we started practicing NFP, it was like we couldn't do it sometimes when we wanted to, and that kind of made things a little steamier, like not gonna lie. It's hard on him too, don't get me wrong. People will say, well, oh, do you just do other things for your husband?
What you're going to notice in a lot of these clips is men who are able to transcend or think at a higher level, think at a different level. I think it was Lila Rose that, talked about society deeming men as animals because they want to have sex. But there are a lot of men out here that are able and have the ability to lock in. They have the ability to say, hey man, I'm not going to do this. Like the guy talked about, that little red key that my youth pastor gave me. I held on to it. And I gave it to my wife when we got married, and it meant so much to her. And you can take this out of celibacy and zoom out and look at it from a higher perspective. Men will lock in if we can get a house, if we can get that car, for the job, whatever it might be. I'm locking in because I want you to be happy. I want the kids to be taken care of. I want everything to go smoothly. As much as I have control, I want to be able to help my family go to the next level. And I think that's something that most modern women don't appreciate nowadays.
Did you know that these famous men practiced celibacy at one point or another? Because I definitely didn't. While filming the movie Silence, Andrew Garfield was celibate for several months in 2016. Not only was he celibate, but he was also fasting. So on a podcast, Andrew revealed that for a period of time, he was experiencing some pretty wild and trippy experiences. Terry Crews revealed to ET that he had a 90-day fast with his wife Rebecca. He said that what was beautiful about it was that it took him to a time when he was 12 years old, liked a girl, and didn't know anything about sex. At first, Terry thought that the fast was going to be horrible, but later said that it was the best thing we had ever done. Justin Bieber was celibate for 1 year. In 2019, he told Vogue that he had a legitimate problem with sex and decided to abstain so he could get closer to God. Justin said, I think sex can cause a lot of pain. Sometimes people have because they don't feel good enough, because they lack self-worth. And honestly, what Justin said can be very true. No matter the reason for practicing celibacy, if you learned something new today like I did, comment down below.
And there was one lady talking about men not seeing women as humans, right? They're getting advice from other men on podcasts, and it's all their fault. Back in the day, there was an exchange. So you would take care of me and I would give you. As great as that sounds, that's not how a relationship works. It's just not. And you can kind of tell some of the people who don't really have a partner, you can tell that they don't. Because they think of things in a terrible way. They talk about things with a one-track mind. They don't even introduce the possibility that maybe not. And anyways, they don't, I'm thinking about 2 or 3 different things. They don't even think about, well, maybe he feels like this. Well, maybe in these relationships, it was like this. They only think about, well, I as a woman don't feel like doing this, and this. So, a man is trying to force me to do that. And so that's how everything goes. And so when I start making my own money and he can't force me to do it anymore, that's why this stuff is going on. That's why we have an epidemic. No, it might just be, it might just be that there's trash options out here, right? But of course, once again, modern women think of men as animals. They think that men can't control themselves. They think that men are putting their hands, even though statistics don't say that. They think they're putting their hands on them. They're dogging them out. They're trashing them. And now this is payback for you trashing me, even though the man didn't do anything. And then she mentioned something else to the effect of, women are speaking up and saying, well, it's not good for me. I don't like it. And it's funny because modern women have been doing this for a long, long time. Women have been doing this for a long, long time in a relationship. I don't like the way you did the dishes. I don't like the way that you parked the car. I don't like the way that you took the trash out. There's a lot of things that women don't like about relationships. And a man just has to sit there and take it. I don't like this lemonade. Take it back. I don't like these cans of tomatoes. You got the wrong type of milk. Take it back. Or go back to the store and get it. And each and every time a man has to sit up there and say, okay, yes, dear. Yes, honey. I'll go back and fix it. Well, I don't like this position. Or I don't like this. I don't like that. And modern women are trying to maneuver all the way into the position of power instead of the position of equality to say, well, you know what? Let me tell you what, instead of you doing, I think, and there was a woman talking about it, instead of you doing something 80% correctly or 70%, let's say 70%, 70 to 80% correctly, instead of you doing it like that, I'm going to move you out the way and do it 100% the way I want to do it. Never mind if a man asks you to do something, you act like you don't know what's going on. You act incompetent. And the man, even though he was trusting and relying on you to do it, he got to come back and do it because you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to act right. Right? And so, number one. Number two, a man would have come back and say, okay, she did most of it. She did 70, 80% of it correctly. Fantastic. And he come back and fix the rest of it. You'll sit up there and say, well, you didn't do 70, 80% of it right, so you didn't do any of it right. You get an F. I'm going to come back and do it by myself. That's what y'all are doing in relationships. That's what y'all are doing. You didn't do it exactly how I wanted, whenever I wanted, and I didn't tell you about it. I just got online and complained about it. Which man wants to continue to hear that type of foolishness? And this is why a lot of these modern women are single. They're insufferable.
I've been the one that's always in my situations like hurt the girl. You know what I mean? I don't say that like I feel bad about it. I be feeling bad because it's like I really might like a girl. I really might rock with a girl. And it's just like, I guess I'm just not in the point to fully lock in with one girl. That's why I think I said on some podcasts, I'm finna like try this little celibacy thing, dog. I'm finna like.
You celibate right now?
Yeah, like I'm really.
How long has it been?
It's been a little minute.
How long?
It's been a little minute.
A week?
You could take that as you want. It's been a little minute.
2 days. All right, it's Fashion Week in New York right now.
I'm gonna say, I ain't done nothing.
Oh, for real?
Mm-mm. But like the reason for that, I'm gonna tell you the reason for it. I seen my mom and my dad married for 32 years. We're from Missouri, so it's a small, it's a small state, a small area, and like that still exists. So a lot of people that ask these questions, do men always cheat? Do women always cheat? It's people that are living in these big cities that all they see is people cheating on each other.
Yeah.
But like where I'm from, like a marriage and like a healthy household still existed. So my mom and my dad have been rocking for 32 years, had 7 kids. So for me, that was always the goal, is to like find a good woman, settle down, have some kids, chill out, post-career, and do my thing. So to me, that's the goal. But I feel like because I've been exposed to so much and been around so much and been, like seen so many beautiful women, been around so many beautiful women, like I feel like my vision is like blurry. Like I can't even tell if this girl is like a wifey type or if she's like, and then even if I do take her serious, I'm comparing her to these other girls because like so I feel like I gotta like detox. Like I feel like I gotta detox, and then if I take some time away and I come back, I'll be able to like see a little bit. I'll be able to see a little bit clearly what I'm feeling. You know what I mean? Because at this point, I don't even know what I want in a wife.
So the men say they are going to start being financially celibate, which means they're not going to spend any money on women, dates, none of that. I think this is the best thing you men could have ever done, and I will tell you why. Because at the end of the day, if you don't spend no money on the women, ain't no sleeping going on. You will not have, you know what, with the women if you ain't spending no money. I think this is the best thing men could come up with because it's rough out here. And that's the less chance you have of reproducing with a woman that you don't care nothing about because you don't want to, you know, spend money on her. Because we already know if you don't spend money on these women, you're not going to sleep with them. You're not going to get anything. So that's a good thing. I think I'm behind this 100%. Men, stop giving all your money to these women. Stop, you know, get your house in order. You know, stop paying these women to go on these expensive dates and stuff and all this stuff. Stop, just cut it out. Save your money. Go get your finances straight. Get your own place. Get your own car, decent job. Get your bank account right. Get your credit right. I agree with y'all. Y'all should be financially celibate. Don't give these women nothing. Because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, most of these women, they're going to take their own self out. They're going to enjoy their own company or their other friends and stuff. I seen a girl and her friends just went and spent about $400 or $500 on a meal and wasn't nobody complaining. So I think that's the best route for men, to be financially celibate until you get yourself together and have something to offer somebody. Because we got to admit, when you go out on these dates with these women, a lot of times you can't afford it. A lot of times these women got more than y'all got. So I think that's a good thing. But most of all, the reason why I like this financial movement, I heard about these men weren't going to spend no money on these women no more, is because of the fact you don't have to worry about all these women having these babies anymore, because it's rough out here. Don't nobody need no whining baby following behind them, paying daycare and all this different stuff and trying to work and being a single mother. So by doing this, y'all are going to cut down the average woman of having to worry about being a single mother. Congratulations to you men. Y'all don't get these women no money, because if you don't get these women no money, you ain't gonna sleep with them and they ain't gotta worry about getting pregnant. That's the best thing I heard. I got so excited this morning.
I heard a woman say something to the effect of, go get your money straight. Money is straight. It's just my money gets funny when I'm out here dating women, right? And so that becomes an issue. It becomes an issue for me because the money that I did have, the money that I was using to build my life, I'm now spending on you because you want to go on an expensive date. And even if it's not an expensive date, well, why don't you buy me flowers? That's $10. Oh, and by the way, I expect that every week. So $10 every week, not too bad. It's $40. That's a bill, but whatever. You can do a little bit, not a lot, with $40. But okay, $40. Hey, I would like you to take me out. It ain't got to be nothing expensive. We can go on a picnic. Let's do a picnic once a month. Let's say $50. Now you're looking at $90. And you're done it once now. That's one picnic. That's one picnic. That's one picnic. Let's say we go out for burgers, okay? What is that going to be? Yeah, well, I mean, you go out to a nice burger spot. Well, let's say you go to Chipotle. It's the same thing. Five Guys, Chipotle, it's the same thing. Chili's, same thing. Well, Chili's going to be a little bit easier. It's not going to matter. Let's say you spend $30. Now you're looking at $120. That's a bill. That's a bill, right? And so, this is the absolute bare minimum. Let's say we cut out 20 and we go back down to 100 because I'm not getting you flowers but every other week. Now I'm looking at 100. I can do a little bit with 100. Men, and most of the time, men have to spend twice that amount in a month. Twice that amount. Why would a man, look, 200, that's 2,400 to wasting time with you. And you say, I still don't know if I want us to be a thing. I still don't know if I want this to be exclusive. I want to date other people. And this man just spent $200.
What? If men went months without sleeping or eating, we'd call it a medical emergency. But when men go months without, everyone just shrugs and says that's just life, isn't it? Well, long-term lack of intimacy quietly changes a man's hormones, his nervous system, his mood, the way he loves, even his lifespan. And most men don't realize it, and most women have never been actually told what actually happens inside a man's body when intimacy disappears completely. Men with long gaps show lower morning testosterone, more irritability, and less drive for everything, and your body feels it. Lower morning testosterone, more irritability, and less drive for everything, and your body feels it. When testosterone drops, so does motivation, optimism, confidence, energy, and initiative. So when men say they feel more grounded or centered or like myself again or connected after consistent, that's not manipulation. That's endocrinology. Let's talk about cortisol, the stress hormone that rises when touch disappears. See, cortisol rises when you're stressed, when you're lonely or touch deprived. That oxytocin, the bonding increases. Cortisol drops, that stress hormone drops, but when intimacy disappears, testosterone drops. Cortisol, as a stress hormone, rises, motivation decreases, irritability increases, and those bonding circuits weaken. He becomes distant. This sets the stage for one of the most painful cycles men face: the silent spiral of drought. Next is the confidence crash. So confidence crash leads to the emotional withdrawal, and when a man feels unwanted, he protects himself. He becomes quieter, he stops initiating, he pulls back emotionally, stops offering affection, disconnects, he's not showing up like he used to, not because he doesn't necessarily care, but because he's trying to shield himself from more rejection. And then that less communication leads to even less intimacy. It becomes a vicious cycle, and now the cycle feeds himself. He feels undesired, so he withdraws. He withdraws, then she feels or he feels disconnected. The partner feels disconnected, and then everyone feels disconnected, so everybody's pulling away. If men win...
Williamson posted this data, and I wanted to talk about this because this has ramifications for men that go far beyond just what you're seeing here on the surface level. The best way to understand data like this is to understand it lives downstream from the root issues. I'm going to cover a couple of them in this video, but this is a very complex and nuanced topic. First reason for this is because the complexities and the changing nature of the dating market. When your grandfather met your grandmother, he was competing against a few guys from his town. Now it is far, far different, and you know that instinctively. Not gonna like these truths I'm about to share, but they are facts and we need to talk about them. Women swipe on 4% of men on dating apps. Men swipe on 60% of women. Women rate 80% of men as below attractiveness standards, and the top 10% of men on these apps get basically all the matches. You might say, but Dave, that's just dating apps. Well, guess what? Dating apps reveal what happens in real life. Women prefer men who stand out. Women prefer men who have grounded masculine direction. Women prefer men who have the aesthetic qualities of a masculine man. Just like men on dating apps prefer the same things that they prefer in real life, women are the same way. Consequences of this are hard to swallow, but they're actually a gift for you as a man. You know why? Because the average man today is not getting rejected. He's invisible to women. So you no longer can just be okay as a man. You need to develop yourself in a unique masculine way. You need to have life direction. You need to be pursuing goals. You need to be building yourself as a man. Otherwise, you will not stand out and you will not have access to the wife you want, the girlfriend you want, the multiple women you want to date, whatever it is, whatever your relationship style you prefer is, you won't have access to that if you just be average. If you're one of those guys that feels invisible to women, I get it. I've been there. Here's me at like 13 or 14 years old. The girl that took this picture I had a crush on, I was too embarrassed to tell her I liked her. So therefore, she dated other guys. I didn't date anybody. Here's me at 18 years old. My first girlfriend actually took this picture, but she actually rejected me before we even started dating. She told me I was like a teddy bear. You're one of those guys that feels like you're invisible to women right now. I get it. It's frustrating. It sucks. It feels like you're being rejected. It's like an existential feeling you have inside of you, but you can build yourself into being the kind of man that women do desire. I've been there. I've lived through it. A lot of us men have. And guess what? Your future, your options, your dream wife, your dream girlfriend, or the dating arena you want to have is possible if you build yourself, and you have to do that. That's the key.
A lot of these men, well, let me say this, not a lot of men, but there are some guys out here that can access it whenever they want to. And when you feel like you can access it, and that's kind of why you have people like Fresh and Fit, even though some of their methods and what they're saying might be a little bit extreme. What they're saying is you've got to build yourself to a point to where you have a certain market. Your market might not be Beyonce, but you do have something available. And usually if you're, because modern women are desperate, if you're pretty decent in terms of, man, maybe I make 50 or 60K, right? Got a nice little apartment, 1 bedroom, because I'm not about to go into debt over that. A nice little car. Don't have to be new. Don't have to be new. Could be a used car, but I wash it on a regular basis, and I don't have to have membership for that. I wash it. I keep it clean. I don't have to have steak every night, mashed potatoes. I don't have to have that, but I do eat relatively well. I got stuff in the freezer. When chicken goes on sale, I buy a whole bunch of chicken, and I store it in such a way that it limits freezer burn for my meat as well. If steak goes on sale, maybe I don't get filet mignon, the absolute best cut, right? But I do pretty well, right? You catch a grill on sale, you learn how to grill if you want to, need to, and you build a plethora of skills, and then all of a sudden women take interest, right? And so you say, I don't really want that option, or I'm not really interested, until you at that point in time would find the option that's good for you. And once again, it don't have to be Beyonce, right? But it's something or somebody that fits my life to where she and I are locked in.